Hey everyone, welcome to the moon forecast for the full moon in Gemini. I'm Kendall with Bohemian Tarot Girl.
And I'm Amy with Wild Reawakening. And this Gemini full moon is coming up December 15th, 2024 at 1:01 a.m. Pacific time. So adjust that for wherever you are in the world. And it's happening at 23, almost 24 degrees of Gemini. So if you want to take a look at where that falls in your chart, go ahead and pull up your birth chart, find 24 degrees of Gemini and what house that is in. And that can give you some clues as to the themes that might be coming up for you specifically with this full moon. So, this full moon has a lot of interesting and pretty intense energy coming up with it.
It really does. And the fact that it is kind of falling first before the end of Mercury retrograde, I feel like it's really playing into the fact that it really wants to readjust our lives and rechannel some things and tweak some things. And then we're going to come through that. And about 12 hours later, we're going to see the end and the shift in Mercury, which I find interesting because Gemini is ruled by Mercury in itself. So it's that energy is very much in play together. How are you feeling about it?
um, yeah, we've been dealing with Mercury retrograde now for almost 3 weeks. And so if you've had any kind of shakeups in your life in regards to communication issues or technology not working, or kind of, we were just talking like relationship seems to be a big theme for this Mercury retrograde. They've seen a lot of shakeups in relationships. So it's going to be nice to kind of like get back on track with that Mercury moving direct and all of those kind of challenges falling to the wayside. And like you said, Gemini is ruled by the planet Mercury. So there's like more emphasis on those themes with this full moon. And interestingly enough, we always talk about the full moons happen when the sun is opposing the moon. And so the moon is in Gemini. The sun, of course, is in Sagittarius. They have two very different energies to them. And so it's kind of like this um, point in time when things are highlighted, and we're kind of trying to find some common ground and see how these two very opposing energies can work together. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, and interestingly enough, Jupiter is in the sign of Gemini right now. So
Mhm.
they're really, really highlighting these opposing energies within each other in these realms because Jupiter expands everything it touches. Mercury is all about communication and ideas and the mental process. And so we kind of see those themes within both of these signs as well. So it's a lot of mental gymnastics again with this moon. So a lot of ideas flying through, a lot of thinking and going over things and realizations and epiphanies. Like there's just so much incoming information that could be coming in through this moon energy. And then having it expanded on because Sagittarius is all about taking ideas or just kind of, well, not even taking ideas because Sagittarius energy can be very impulsive and wants action. But it's usually in a search of higher truth, whereas Gemini is looking for the ideas and the knowledge and the wisdom. So we're kind of finding like where the idea meets the action and how to implement them together in a healthy and uh, and productive way instead of just spinning wheels.
Yeah. Now, what I've noticed during this time has been that the energy has really made it cut and dry for people to see. So things will have happened, and a lot of times, in life, you don't really get to know the story behind what happens. And so you kind of go with your gut, you move on in life. And this is really closing the door. I felt like a lot of people and their experiences during this time have been so cut and dry that they could never kind of pull the wool back over their eyes and really, say like, oh, that didn't happen, right? So it's kind of preventing people from really having that ability to play a fool with themselves, and so that they could go back and they could go through another situation. This is basically the wheel has kicked you off that is rotating through, and that's my theory in life is that we go through events and the universe puts us through tests and we go through what I would call the wheel of fate. And sometimes we decide like we learn the lesson and we get right off and we hop off and we can get on another wheel and proceed with our life. And then other times we just sit there and go through and cycle through and through and through the same experience. And this is really the moment I think collectively that the energy has said like, hey, I've told you to get off this wheel before and you haven't. And so here is kind of like the catalyst to do it. And you can't really deny the facts that I'm going to present to you. And that's that Sagittarius energy. That's that energy that really makes it a cut and dry. Like it's time to get off,
Mhm.
time to get going, choose something new.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's very much an element of truth coming to the forefront and you being able to see things clearly and having that clarity within your mind of, okay, this is what is going on. I don't need to think about it anymore. Now I can take that wisdom and knowledge that I've gained from the situation and then move forward into a different trajectory and make different decisions based on the information that I now have. It has this energy is can be very, very illuminating, I think. And it's going to be, you know, in such a way that you won't have to second guess the decisions that you're making. Full moons, we typically are looking at some a cycle's closing, so it's very much in line with what you were saying. It's like you've reached a point and not only is it the end of the year and we're getting ready to start with the new lunar and new year coming up,
Mhm.
um, but there's like a closing of cycles and in such a way that we don't necessarily need to revisit them again later.
Yep.
So it's good energy. It can just be a lot. And we're going to talk about some of these aspects that are contributing to that. Um, because this moon is so heavily highlighted with air energy and fire energy, and there's not a lot of grounding happening. And then the only like emotional energy that's really coming into play here is Neptune and Pisces. And Neptune, even though it's emotional and intuitive, sometimes it can kind of have create some illusion as well. And
Yeah.
so I think that how it's aspecting the certain things, and we might as well just get into it.
Yeah. Jump
Um,
right in.
yeah. We have Mercury going direct, so that's going to clean up. Mercury's been in Sagittarius. So it is, bringing truth to light kind of energy coming in. And we have the sun in Gemini, and it is creating a square. Both of
You mean the
those are,
moon? Sorry.
oh, yeah, moon in Gemini. I always do that. It's like sun in Sagittarius, moon in Gemini, and they are creating a square to this Neptune in Pisces. And squares are a tense energy. It's not necessarily a free flowing, easy energy to deal with. So, with it being like squaring this Neptune in Pisces, it's, um, you know, almost, oh gosh. What's the message coming in? um, it actually has the sense of because Neptune can kind of be cloudy and kind of this, but when it's squaring, it can almost have the opposite effect in a way of bringing a little more clarity to the situation.
Mhm.
So in a sense, even though it's a tense energy, it's kind of removing the veil so that you are
Yes.
able to see things in a better situation.
Mhm.
Um, what do you think? Like, do you have any?
With this one, I was really drawn to the fact that you have it with Pisces energy, in the fact that it's very emotional, and I feel like there's going to be a release, I feel like it's a combination. Like we're going to have this disclosure of information and it's going to help you release your emotions that were tied up in them and to be able to really see what emotions were coming into play. And it's really giving you that gift so you can change up your world, right? Because we have a tendency to sit in our emotions and not let not that it's bad that you let your emotions rule how you do certain things, but it allows us to have the freedom to kind of release that baggage of emotions that we've carried. And I think people are going to have a lot of realizations about things that are repeating in their lives from a long time during this moon and really seeing the cycle within it potentially during this time. I would say if start noticing something or you start feeling emotional about something, really explore that because that's going to give you keys really to like dig in and see how this has played out in a cycle in your life. And for me, when I see cycles repeat, that's like key for me to pay attention and something for me to go back and reevaluate things in my life because clearly it is something that's holding me back and I'm not transitioning, I'm not moving forward because I'm just repeating something and it's replaying in my life. And that is no bueno. That's not what I want. I want to be able to learn and grow and keep moving on. And so recognizing those pieces, especially the emotional pieces, I think is going to be key for this. And so I like that you said it's going to remove that veil of illusion because I really feel like it's going to allow us to see, some of the things that were controlling our emotions in our world. So,
Yeah. And especially with so much fire and air energy, it does remove that emotional element that may be kind of triggering us to react or participate in certain things that are not serving because we do have an emotional attachment to it. So even though this is typically like a T-square is typically a pretty I feel like they're resistant energies, but this one is actually bringing just another layer of clarity to the energies that are coming in. And I really like that. I think that we, as you know, when we're getting ready to move in a new direction, being able to see where we've been and where we're going, and kind of having that moment of like that aha moment of, okay, this is not serving me anymore. And this is where I want to move into this new space of being and this new way of showing up for myself and this new trajectory. And then not having kind of the sentimental rose colored glasses that are, keeping us stuck in old patterns. So it is kind of refreshing, but
I mean, it can be hard, but I'm with you. Like it's refreshing. I feel like a lot of the things that we need in life is not exactly comfortable. And once we get through the uncomfort of it, then we stand back and we're like, oh, thank God this happened, right? Like, thank God I can move on with my life now, right? I've seen it, I've done it, I've processed it. Now I can go do this other thing. And then once you release that, it's like everything fucking falls together, right? And then you can start this whole new chapter in your life and things start working out for you. And it's because you took that moment and really understood what was holding you back and let it go. It's the
and I
letting it.
will Yeah, and I will say that while it is going to create clarity, while it is in this strong T-square positioning though, and you're having all of these realizations and you're having all of these things come up because you probably will have an emotional factor come up during this. And then it'll also like be super stimulating to your mind. And then, there's just a lot going on with that type of energy. And so it may feel like there can be a sense of overwhelm while you're processing.
Yep.
And that's normal because you're going to be like looking at all angles and you're going to be reassessing. And, there's a definite like mental aspect to this that's going to be triggered. And, Kendall and I were talking beforehand, and it was like, this is the energy where if you're not already like ADD, you are going to feel like you're ADD. You're going to have, your mind is going to be working a million miles an hour potentially. And you're going to be processing and you're going to be, going over so much. So just kind of like if you're starting to feel overwhelmed and you're kind of like wanting to check out of it, which is very much a Pisces type energy and a Neptune type energy, is to kind of like that escapism. Um, it's okay to give yourself some grace and go a little easy on yourself during this time and just let the process happen. And I promise after you kind of go through the whirlwind and the tornado of all of this mental stimulation and emotional like purge that it will bring in a sense of clarity and peace afterwards. So um it's it's the process of removing the disillusionment
Yep. And I
that's
do
been.
really feel like most of this energy is going to be prior to the moon. I think most people have seen it already. I think that was part of Mercury retrograde. And I feel like there's potential for the people who have been holding out the last little bit, right? It's giving us that last little second to kind of see some things and to be have some things brought to the surface. But really, there's this energy with Mercury in opposition to Jupiter too. And I feel like that energy is telling us, like, it's enlightening us on how to change our approach to life. And I feel like we've already been shown the lessons. And so that's what you need to pay attention to was the lessons that were given to you prior to this moon. And then we're going to kind of have this epiphany moment. And it's going to be this gift of realization. I have a feeling. I feel like a lot of people are going to release and let go at that moment. And in that, it's going to bring this ability to change the way we go about our lives. So if you are in this moment where you feel like you're stuck, you want to change some stuff up in your life, this is a great opportunity to release some stuff before the full moon or during the full moon, and then really see how it's going to change your life. And I think that's going to be the gift that's going to come. You're going to start seeing, uh, th- some of the gifts that you could have, but I really think we'll start seeing the change as we kind of come out of the moon. So, yeah.
Yeah. And then of course we mentioned there's a lot of fire energy with this. We actually have a grand fire trine happening. A fire grand trine happening. I knew
There
if
you
I
go.
said um, and so what that means, so we have Mercury, which is in Sagittarius, and then we have Mars, which is currently retrograde, but it is in Leo. And then we have the North Node, which is in Aries. And so that is like highlighted, it's in all of the three air or fire signs, and it's like creating a triangle, which is why we call it a grand trine. And that is a super favorable energy. And what it is bringing in, it's like bringing in these downloads of things that are inspiring, things that um, feel purposeful to us, ideas, inspiration, uh, and something that maybe is ready to be birthed. And when I was looking at this, it was kind of like this. You may have had something that came up into your like periphery a while back that kind of sparked something in you, but yet you had delays on actually bringing it to birth, like and creating it and making it happen. And so now this is giving the opportunity to re-tap into what feels purposeful and what feels inspiring and what kind of lights you up, and then moving in and actually like having the momentum with this fire grand trine happening to actually make it a reality and like have create the action behind it to make it come to pass. So pay attention, I think, to what is kind of like getting sparked within you that kind of is wanting to be created at this time or to move forward in a certain direction, and see what lights you up and then make it happen, like
Yeah. No, I like that. I really do think that that piece is giving us like action for our soul's desires and moving us forward. And I think, you have, like we talked about, the release, and then you have this, with this energy of moving and movement forward. And so that's the beauty, I think, of this moon is that a lot of times when we think about full moons, it's all about like the releasing of energy and kind of like letting it go. But with this, it's saying like release it and there's going to be action.
Mhm.
So I think that is if if you need motivation right now, people, to do the work, this would be your moon because you're going to do the work and you're going to get some immediate returns, is how I feel. When I
Mhm.
look at this energy, I really feel like you're going to see some immediate shifts if you do the emotional release work, to, really bring it forward. So,
And I'm really so excited about this energy. Like, I'm sure you have an idea, but I feel like so much of this year has been like two steps, like one step forward, two steps back, and like being caught in these holding patterns for whatever reason, like feeling stuck and not being able to like get the momentum going. And so having this like burst of inspiration and the Mars, because inspiration is the whole like Gemini or the whole Mercury like aspect of it. And then you have Mars, which is the action aspect of it. And then the North Node is all about the purpose, your purpose and direction that you're moving in. And it's like having the three combined in these signs that is creating this fire grand trine energy. Can't even talk. Um, but that is so significant for this, like whatever you're creating, it's just it's go time is kind of how I feel.
yeah.
So if you're not feeling inspired and have motivation during this time, like you may never find it.
Yeah. Nope.
So Um, and then the other like, and those were like the two main significant like aspects and things that we're kind of playing with this moon. Surprisingly though, I mean, Venus is in Aquarius. We love Venus. Venus is
Yeah.
all the good things. It's your love, it's your money, it's your relationships, it's how you like all the things that make you feel like life is worth living. But Venus is being like super highly aspected, like right before this moon, during this moon, and after this moon, and in such a favorable way that it's really going to create the opportunity um, to like look at what you value and give you the opportunity to create like more solid foundations in your relationships. Who's important to you? What's important to you? What are you creating that feels significant and uplifting and bringing that extra value to your life? So there may be certain people who come in who help you, whether it's through business or through romance or, um, just creating like a sense of community or connection. Um, and just look at like, I don't know, it just feels very significant during this time to really see who is bringing an added sense of comfort and value to your life at this moment and see kind of like their place in your life. So especially, which is really good considering the holidays are coming up. We're probably going to be spending time with, the people that we care about the most, family. So it can also give the opportunity, like if your relationships have been strained in some places, it can really bring a sense of kind of like healing and um, almost like rejuvenation to the relationship.
Yes. No, looking at it, it was very much like here's your ending for kind of, some of the processes that we've been going through. And I do really feel like it's highlighting the fact that, um, recently you would have had some people leave your life, and you're going to have those real obviously realizations why they left your life here. But then there's also the fact that, the people that you're with right now, and as long as you're not paying attention to some of the things that have been disclosed to you at this moment, those are the people that really are going to be there for you for this time. And so paying attention to the people that are with you and supporting you, I feel like that's going to tell you really who the key players are going to be going forward as we go into this new cycle for the year. Those are the people that are going to stand by you, that are going to have your back during this time. And that's romantic, that's in business, that's in really any aspect in your life too. So you don't have to like specifically say like it's just for romance. It's really any of these players in your life. I think you've seen some new ones enter your life at this moment, and those are the ones that you're going to really see their value coming through and how much that they really stand by you. And a lot of people have a lot of this energy is the realization of how important those people are in your life. And I feel like that is key. We have a tendency to put people to the side and, you know, um, focus in on other things. And it's really the realization that, the people that stand by us that are kind of like in the background supporting us, and don't give up on us. Those are the people you want to keep in your life. The other ones, let them go. So,
Yeah, we saw a big like kind of shift in this, well, or maybe not even a shift, but Venus was opposing Pluto, and Pluto is all about transformation and kind of about endings and cycles closing and but its key element is transformation. And so you may have seen in some relationships that things ended or that they elevated, and it really could have gone either way. But what it did was it gave you the opportunity to look at um, what it is that you want, and it kind of highlighted like what is important to you. And um, I feel like with all of this energy, it's really solidifying, like making sure that you're valuing yourself, but also like you said, the people who are meant to be there are going to be there, and they're going to um like help elevate you and your experience. Like there's I keep saying value, but it's like there's so much emphasis on what it is that you want and what you value and who contributes to that in your life. And I think with like this Mercury retrograde and this Venus, you know, opposing Pluto, like we really got a good look as to who adds value and who doesn't add value, and making it sure that we're closing the cycles of what isn't working, so that we can have the opportunity for something new to come in that matches that so much better. So,
exactly. Yep. And for, those of you who already feel like you're kind of standing in that higher vibrational energy and you're doing well and you feel like you've recognized the patterns and you're kind of there, pay attention to the people that are around you, right? That you're supporting. Those are, you might not be going through such a drastic change at this moment, but other people around you might be. So just know that as you go through, if you are really, like if you are really sure of your tribe and who you want in your life, they do and stand by them. So, and pay attention and just be aware that, people might be going through some interesting emotions during this time, and that's okay. You let them do it. So, yeah.
yeah. But we do have, I mean, we'll have like the new moon coming up on the 30th, but this next year, there's a lot of big, significant planetary changes, especially in the outer lying planets, which are the collective planets. So we're going to be seeing some major shifts happening on a global scale, and it's going to be something to kind of keep an eye out on. So it's exciting, but
Yes.
if you're up for change, but we'll definitely be getting into those in the new year, and so. I don't know, this just feels like really good energy for closing out where we're at and kind
Yep.
of the year that we've had. So,
And
uh,
really realigning where you want to be, and really taking that last step. So, yeah. All right. Do we have anything else?
I don't have anything else.
Okay.
I mean, I just, you know, there's a huge mental process happening right now. Roll with it. I promise clarity is on its way. Sometimes we have to kind of like go through the whole picture of everything and have all of the information come in, and then we can kind of like sit with it and analyze it, which is a very Gemini thing. And then get the down to the nitty gritty of what is really meant and purposeful and significant for us. So the epiphanies and the information and the clarity is definitely coming with this full moon.
Mhm. I think that's a beautiful wrap up. All right, everyone. Have a great holiday. We will see you for the new moon coming up. Thanks again. Bye.
Bye.